The issue of Tibet is back onto the international center stage with the visit of a 7-member US Congressional delegation to Dharamshala, Himachal Pradesh, this month to meet the Dalai Lama and members of the Tibetan government in exile. During the visit, former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi lashed out at Chinese President Xi Jinping, saying that the Dalai Lama's contribution will live on in perpetuity while Xi Jinping will fade into obscurity. Pelosi had earlier made a trip to Taiwan, which China claims is a breakaway province, following which Beijing launched military drills around the island. The American activism on Tibet comes close on the heels of the U.S. clearing new legislation that pushes Beijing to re-engage with the Dalai Lama and elected representatives to resolve the standoff over Tibet's future. The new law directs the U.S. government to coordinate multilateral initiatives to bring about a negotiated settlement on Tibet. Importantly, it also stipulates funding by the U.S. for the purpose of countering disinformation spread by the Communist Party of China on Tibetan history and traditional institutions like the Dalai Lama. India has also begun to recalibrate its policy on Tibet, albeit slowly, over the past decade. For his swearing-in ceremony in 2014, Prime Minister Narendra Modi invited the political head of the Tibetan government in exile, Lobsang Songhai, along with heads of state from neighboring countries in South Asia. The June 2020 clashes in Galwan were an important inflection point in relations between India and China, following which a tense standoff continues between the two armies along the line of actual control, LAC, to this date. The ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, sent a senior representative to attend the funeral of a soldier from the Special Frontier Force, a clandestine unit comprising mostly Tibetans, who was martyred during military operations against the People's Liberation Army along Pangong Tso in August 2020. This was followed by Modi tweeting birthday greetings to the Dalai Lama in 2021. The fact that the U.S. delegation met Prime Minister Modi and Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar after the interaction with the Tibetan spiritual leader demonstrates that this was not a personal outreach by U.S. lawmakers. The Indian Foreign Ministry also stated that the Dalai Lama was a religious figure and was at liberty to conduct his spiritual activities, while countering China's outburst over the Dharamshala interaction. This foray shows that there is close coordination between New Delhi and Washington on the issue of Tibet, thanks largely to convergent interests. The 1951 Chinese annexation of Tibet led to the Dalai Lama seeking refuge in India. Over the years, China consolidated its hold over Tibet, resulting in the suppression of religious freedom there, and several Tibetans came to India as refugees, drawn by cultural affinity. The Indian government's Tibetan Rehabilitation Policy, 2014, document puts the number of Tibetan refugees living in 45 settlements across the country at over 100,000, as on 2009. Moreover, the government acknowledges that many Tibetans live outside these official settlements too. The Dalai Lama is revered by Tibetans and has acquired international stature. Given that the Dalai Lama is an octogenarian, the issue of succession looms large in the strategic calculus. As a large Tibetan population resides in India, there are apprehensions over how the community would be influenced in the future. Chinese propaganda has tried to smear the institution of the Dalai Lama, dubbing the current spiritual head a separatist. China will seek to assert itself on the question of succession. There is significant global awareness of China's designs. The U.S. Tibetan Policy and Support Act of 2020, cleared by the Donald Trump administration, stipulates that only those adhering to the Tibetan Buddhist faith must decide on the Dalai Lama's successor. Media reports suggest that the Indian government discussed the succession issue at the highest levels in 2021. To conclude, Xi's rise and consolidation within China has led to the nation stoking territorial disputes with neighbors like India, Japan, and Taiwan. However, China may not be left unscathed by its project to redraw borders. India okaying the U.S. delegation's meeting with the Dalai Lama also burst the notion that a reduced majority in the Lok Sabha may lead to greater caution in Modi's foreign policy dealings. On the contrary, by replying to the greetings of Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te with respect to Modi 3.0 and reaffirming support to the Tibetan cause, India is pushing the envelope on China's red lines. Modi's decision not to attend the SCO summit this year in Astana was also aimed at avoiding a direct meeting with the Chinese leader. The message from New Delhi seems to be categorical. If China does not respect India's sensitivities with respect to its core interests, India too should not be expected to be mindful of Beijing's red lines. And unless Beijing addresses India's core concerns on border clarity and national security, New Delhi is in no hurry to mend fences. Kindly subscribe our GeoZone Media channel for more information. Thank you.